Chapter 4. Happy. Peter, Ned says breathlessly, rushing up to him in the hallway. He holds out his phone in one hand, glancing at it every few seconds. Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? What? Peter laughs. You look like you're about to start vibrating, dude. I am. The new Star Wars game I ordered came in today. He gapes at him. What? I thought that wasn't coming until next week. Me too. I didn't even get the fast shipping because it was too expensive. But see, I just got the conversation email thing that it arrived, so I called my mom and she said she brought it in. No way! That's so cool! You guys are nerds! Someone calls out as they walk past. Both of them jump up from when they were huddled over Ned's screen. MJ isn't looking in their direction, but it's easy to figure out it's her. We know! Peter shouts back, turning back to Ned. He says, Dude, we gotta play it. Can I come over after school? Sure, Wait, didn't you have the internship today? Ned asks, purposely emphasizing the internship part, and Peter immediately curses. He completely forgot. Crap, yeah. I can just text Mr. Stark and ask if I can skip, though. I don't think he'd mind. Are you sure? Taking out his phone, Peter raises an eyebrow. Why wouldn't it be? Peter texts, Hi, Mr. Stark. Could I reschedule today? Because Ned and I got this really cool game and I need to play it or else I'll die. Tony responds, Sure, but why do you always have to type like you don't know English? Peter, I'm a Gen Z kid. We don't. Tony, fair. I don't understand half what you say in real life either. Because it's Mr. Stark, Ned says, looking scandalized. You've got to stop acting like he's some kind of untouchable god, man. I literally saw him look for his glasses while they were on his head last week. And he just said it's fine. That does nothing to convince Ned otherwise, but before he can say anything, the bell rings, reminding them they need to get to class. I guess, but I'm getting checked out for a doctor's appointment next hour, so I can't give you a ride. Okay, Peter says, not really thinking about it. It's like a 10-minute walk. It's fine. I'll just meet you there. Peter has got to stop jinxing himself. Every single time he thinks, maybe this has been a good day, something goes, without fail, horribly wrong. Horribly, horribly wrong. That's Parker luck for you. He just left school and started his way down to Ned's house when the back of his neck bristles, which is weird. Nothing seems to be off. The weather is nice, not many people around, so why is he so on edge? There's a quick, hurried footsteps behind him, and though Peter has enough time to react, someone still gets a hold of his arm and forcibly drags him down the alleyway. What the? Shut up. His confusion grows even more when he sees who it is. It's the kid from the library a few weeks ago, Jason, and he's scowling, with two others behind him, who have their arms crossed and stance as intimidating as possible. Peter recognizes one of them as the boy who had been there that day, sat off to the side. Josh and Trent, Jason says as a means of introduction, pointing one thumb first at the library one and then at the one he doesn't know. We just wanted to have a chat, didn't we, guys? Dread is swirling in Peter's stomach. Everything about this is bad. It's darker than it should be because of how the buildings block the sun, and the only way out is blocked too. I'm sorry, I don't... You afraid because your little girlfriend isn't here to back you up? He takes a step forward. Peter instinctively shies away. His heart pounds in his chest. MJ isn't my girlfriend, he stammers. Oh right, my bad, Jason smiles, sarcasm dripping off every word. I forgot. She's not a lesbian, so she wouldn't date you. He's calling you a girl, Peter thinks. Why are you trying to be a guy anyway? No guy fucking wants you. Can you blame him? I wouldn't want a freak either. Trent butts in, laughing like he's just the funniest thing in the world. It's a high-pitched, ugly noise echoing through the alley. Peter bites down on his tongue, so hard he can taste Vitalik. He knows he can't just force them out of the way with his super strength and make a run for it, even taking into account the 3-on-1. They're much, much more muscular than him, but he can't. Not only because it comes with the fact of being found out as Spider-Man, but because he's scared. What if they're right? Something inside him whispers, sensing the fear latching onto it. What if you are just a freak, trying to convince yourself that you're something you're not? What, you're not gonna answer, my friend? Jason taunts. He shoves Peter roughly, slams him into the brick wall behind him. Getting in his face, he points a finger directly at his chest, saying, That's all you are, huh? Fucking pussy. Are we surprised, though? He continues, glancing at Josh and Trent, who shake their heads right on cue. I mean, you do have one, so it only figures. If nothing else, that's what cuts Peter the deepest. He's right, he's right, he's right, he's right, he's right, he's right. Just leave me alone, he says, his voice cracking. Just leave me alone, Jason mocks. Man, I didn't know how I was so confused in the first place. It's so obvious you're a girl. There are two possibilities, and it's either that Peter's binder has managed to shrink about 2 sizes in the matter of minutes, or he's about to pass out. Both of them are plausible because it's getting pretty damn difficult to breathe. I'm not. Blood spurts from Peter's nose before he can finish, and he's barely able to stumble back when another blow, this time his jaw, quite literally has him seeing stars. He's not sure how it happens, but he finds himself on the ground right after that, a mouthful of gravel and dirt. It's not even the worst part though, as 2 swift kicks in the ribs make him involuntarily groan and bring his arms up to shield his face. You're not one of us, Jason hisses, moving to grab his hair and haul him upwards. Peter can't even see him because everything is spinning fast and you think he might vomit. I don't care what any of your stupid friends think. You're a girl. You can't change that. You fucking... Hey! Someone shouts from a few feet away. The hand that had been gripping Peter's hair suddenly lets go. This is actually a bad thing because it means he hits his head on the pavement. Hard. Once his eyes decide to start working again and he's able to see more clearly, Peter assumes he has a concussion or something, because Happy is standing right there in place of Jason. In fact, they're all gone. Peter, he's saying, but it sounds like he's underwater. Come on, get up. It takes a minute, but Peter finally understands what's being asked of him, and he tries to lift his head. He feels arms around his side and the pain flaring in his ribs as a result, and he's being half carried, half dragged too. Suddenly, he's on a leather seat in a car, and everything hurts. I'm taking you to Tony, Happy explains, getting in the front. I don't know what happened, but you're not in good shape. Peter should probably put a seatbelt on, but that requires effort and motivation that he doesn't have. Instead, he does his best to focus. How did you find me? I cancelled. I wasn't coming to school today. And you don't have to pick me up. Tony didn't tell me that until after I got to your school, Happy says, and it took me a while to get out of the parking lot. I noticed something in one of the alleyways I passed. The matter-of-fact way he's talking gives Peter the impression that he's more shaken than he's letting on. Oh, thanks? What problem do they have with you? Happy asks, ignoring his gratitude. They hit a pothole. Peter gnaws at the bottom of his lip to stop from crying out. Peter shuts his eyes briefly, taking a deep breath before opening them. Making a split-second decision, he says, Do you know what being trans means? Happy doesn't answer at first. He stops at a red light, seems to consider something, then answers, not looking at him, Yes, I do. Is not looking at me bad? Oh god, it is. He probably hates me now. He has to. Why wouldn't he? As the light turned green and they start again, Peter fidgets. I'm, that. It's very, very quiet. Peter wonders how much of a risk he'd be taking if he leaped out of a moving car. So, I'm guessing those kids back there don't like that fact? Peter frowns. How did you? I heard what one boy said when he had you on the ground, before they ran for it. Peter looks up at the roof, trying to fight tears. His nose throbs. He hasn't looked at himself yet, but he can feel dried blood in his chin. And for the record, Peter, Happy says, glancing at him in the rearview mirror, I don't care that you're trans. Those 6 words, such a bright contrast to what Jason said to him, stun Peter into silence. He still hasn't said anything when they pull up to the tower and Happy gets out, coming to the side and leaning through the window. I know it hurts, and I'll let you lean on me. You're gonna have to walk. Can you? Peter has to hold back a yelp when he tries to stand. Pain crashes down on him in full force. Black spots dance in his vision, and he realizes belatedly he's been wearing his binder for far too long. And that whole knocking his head into concrete thing isn't helping, to say the least. Yeah, but my ribs really hurt, he says, voice strains. And my head, He staggers, only saved from falling due to Happy's fast reflexes. I don't feel so good. Peter must black out momentarily from his maybe concussion and overall stress of it all, because when he wakes, he's in an elevator and being helped from the lab. Tony is hovering all around him, saying something to Happy and taking him from the man. He's sat down on one of the lower tables and his body hates him for it. Pete, Happy has to leave for a meeting. Talk to me. Tell me what happened. Just some kids from school, he mumbles. He doesn't want to snitch. It's nothing. Nothing doesn't leave you like this, Tony snaps, and Peter flinches. Sensing his mistake, Tony hands him an ice pack that seems to have materialized out of thin air. Stay. I have first aid somewhere. Peter wasn't planning on moving, so that works out just fine. He grimaces as he holds the ice pack to the bruise on his jaw. which from what he can faintly see in the mirror on the opposite wall is an ugly shade of purple. It'll fade, probably be gone by tomorrow due to his healing factor, but that doesn't negate the pain. Somehow it makes it worse, as he was trying to make up for lack of time someone has to hurt him. Tony is kneeling down in front of him now, smelling motor oil and cologne. He has Peter's right pants leg pulled up to his thigh and is diligently cleaning the bloody scrapes on his shins he didn't even know were there. It stings, but not badly. You don't have to do that, Peter says, but it's not needed. They both know he doesn't have to. It's how they work, though. After every mission, after every patrol, every time one of them is hurt in any way, they fix each other. Unless it's life-threatening or beyond their expertise, they bandage each other's wounds, clean the blood, whether it belongs to them or not, and take away as much of the pain as they can. But no matter how hard Tony tries, he can't take away this kind. He can't take away the dysphoria, the self-hatred, and the suicidal thoughts, and the days of the week where depression is everything outlined in sadness. He can work with them, sure. He can be there all he wants, but he will never be able to stop it. He can't take Peter away from himself. It's ironic. With Spider-Man, despite all his worry, Tony can protect him. He can add safety plans and protocols and functions that help him in the face of danger. He can upgrade materials, make them stronger, tougher, to the point of practically being indestructible. But with Peter, weird, nerdy Peter Parker, who is too anxiety-ridden to even think about retaliating against those who hurt him, he can't protect that, especially in a world where everyone would rather see him as a girl who killed himself instead of a boy who's happy, where people would go through extreme lengths to get that message across. Peter is jolted from his thoughts when Tony closes the first aid box. Really, at this point they need a first aid chest, and stands up. He places the box to the side but doesn't let it go. For a second that's suspended in time, it's quiet. I'm going to ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, okay? Tony's voice is carefully controlled, but his hand is tight around the handle. Peter swallows hard and nods. Okay. If Happy hadn't found you, he says, looking at Peter with a strange expression, if he hadn't found you, would you even have told me this happened? Would he have? Peter's first instinct is to say yes, of course, but when he really thinks about it, he's hidden injuries from Tony in the past, not because he was afraid of getting in trouble, because he didn't want to worry him. It's always been a habit, pushing away the negative feelings and downplaying what he goes through, just because he doesn't want to worry anyone. So he more than likely would have hidden this as well, stuffed it out of sight and out of mind. His lack of response is his answer. Kid, Tony sighs. He finally lets go of the first aid. He walks over to Peter, sitting next to him. Kid, the people who did this, have they messed with you before? Not really, he says softly. One of them talked to me a few weeks ago, but he backed off, and I didn't think... Peter coughs, overly aware of how sore he is. I didn't think he would do this. Tony inhales sharply. They did do this because I'm trans, yeah. Whatever you're thinking, stop it, Tony says. He has the same expression from earlier on his face. This time he puts a hand on his shoulder gently as to not scare him. You didn't deserve this. At all. I came out to Happy, Peter whispers, on the way here. He said he didn't care. I think that's a good thing. The seriousness of the conversation is still there. It's going to be an uncomfortable one soon, but Tony lets it change for now. He snorts. Kid, you might not know this, but he's been around me for so long that nothing can take him by surprise anymore. Peter can't argue with that.